coming up. I was thinking, sir, back during I guess right after the first lockdown, remember when the GCC Culinary Academy students were doing they were doing like a lunch thing, right? And we had them on a bunch of times, and they did it for a bunch of weeks. So just a really great program. And this morning we're going to be talking with a couple people who have been through this program and are now, working out as success stories. So it's awesome. It's 7:36 Thursday, April 28th. Lasia Casil, the director of the Hagatna. I always get this wrong, Lasia.
Restoration and Redevelopment Authority. Hurrah,
there
for
you
short.
Go. Hurrah. And I guess it is that hurrah time as the $500 million master plan for Hagatna is before the legislature. Right now, I know you saw they had some concerns, Lasia, but we'll get to that in a second. First, I wanted to get to just the plans, chances of. So how's it work? If they don't do anything, it goes into effect. If they vote it down and table it, they have more time to review it. So what's your look at the lay of the land?
Okay, so there are three ways that we could go here. They either accept it with amendments, or they can amend it, or they can reject it. It doesn't look positive right now. So we are, planning to have a roundtable with the senators to discuss all of their concerns. I think that the time limit during the committee of the whole was a bit frustrating. They had many more questions and concerns than we could address during that limited amount of time. And we're transparent, we have nothing to hide. We want to share all the information. We comply with the open government law. So we submitted a formal request to our oversight chair to have a roundtable discussion in the next couple of weeks.
So is this going to affect the status of the plan? I mean, does this mean we're just tabling it to have this roundtable to address these concerns? And does a new timeline start?
They're probably going to vote it down tomorrow.
Okay.
But we've already discussed it with our legal counsel, and the board can vote to approve it again and resubmit it until it passes, hopefully.
Right.
So that's our intention.
I see. So how are you feeling about this? I know you've been working hard on this for the last few years, and to get it up here to the senator's doors, only to have it kicked down again.
Well, throughout the whole meeting, my main takeaway was that there aren't really concerns with the plan itself. There were very few amendments to the plan, and they were all very acceptable. A few changes here. The main concern seemed to be with factors surrounding the plan, the powers that have been given to the authority, such as eminent domain, and our funding source were questions. And a study, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers study, I think that the speaker brought that up yesterday. It's a very strong concern of hers. And we were supposed to do this study with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to find some way to mitigate flooding in Hagatna. And that study, a year and a half into it, they came back to us with information about an executive order that they have to follow, Executive Order 11988, which states that their goal is not to reduce the size of the floodplain nor mitigate the floodplain itself, but to reduce the risk to the lives and structures and economic damage within the existing floodplain. So that kind of went against what our end goal was, right? Is to develop Hagatna, as an economic city, economic opportunities within Hagatna. So that was a surprise to us after a year and a half into the study, that they came back to us with this executive order that's been around for like 45 years.
Is this a local executive order or like a presidential?
No, it's a U.S. Army Corps of Engineers executive order. They came to us during the study with 4 options on how to mitigate the flood. 3 of them included construction, and then one of them was not, did not include construction. And they said, hey, we have this executive order. We can only recommend the non-construction option. And when they explained it to us, that was one, it was by choice. And it included all the businesses and residents of Hagatna going in and painting the walls of their homes and businesses with waterproof paint, to mitigate damage, not actually stop the flooding. And this would have required businesses to stop running, for them to come in and take all the precautions, people moving stuff out of their homes. And it was a choice. So it didn't really address the issue that we were trying to accomplish, mitigate the flooding itself.
So since that study is out the door, what's the way forward? Is this going to be something that
it's not out the door? Okay. It's not out the door. We were currently seeking funding to complete the study, with options that the governor prefers. There was money put aside to do a study for a river walk, and we can't do a river walk until we mitigate the flooding. There are other options. We just need to go with a different firm. And everyone forgets, that the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is a for-profit organization that competes with other firms, to do this type of studies. And it's not the first time that the federal government has been not forthcoming with our island. So, to put all our faith in the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is I wouldn't put all our eggs in that basket.
What about some of the concerns the speaker had raised about some of the zoning issues and powers that HRRA has?
We do have the authority to change the zoning code with just a public hearing, and it's not something that we took lightly. We, in the development of this master plan, which was paid for through the hot bonds in 2015, it's not a $500 million plan. It was about $1 million, Chris, just to clarify that.
I mean, the project, yes.
The projects are like $500 million. Right. So the plan has already been paid for. We have this plan. We own it. We can edit it. We plan to edit it as part of policy every 5 years because, climates change, environments change, administrations change, the needs of the community change. So as far as the zoning code, when we were engaging with the community, having open houses, charrettes, design charrettes, one of the main concerns of the community in Hagatna was that the current zoning code did not allow them to maximize their properties because most of the zoning down in Anigua is all residential. And there are a lot of landlords that said, hey, we would love to do, 2 or 3 story type mixed use developments. And you see this right now where Shirley's is, right? Yeah. So you have Shirley's on the bottom and then now you have condos up top, but the current zoning code doesn't allow that. So we took all the feedback from the residents and we said, we're going to expand the zoning code. And that's what we want to do. All along the cliff line going from across where Citibank is and down where I believe it's Shell and Burger King and Crust Pizza, that we're expanding the zoning code. So we've worked with the community to develop something that's a win-win for everyone.
Lasia, what about, because I know you have a real estate background and some of the things that speaker was talking about, and I know that's in the plan, like uniformity, right? With painting buildings and just structurally, what types of, or how does the plan address that? And what are businesses, residences in the Hagatna area, how are they going to have to comply? Are there going to be any differences in how they're able to, build and paint and all that stuff?
Well, what the design guidelines addresses is mass and form and types of materials. So there's a wider range of materials that people can use. And we've looked at, we've kind of created 4 different districts within Hagatna. You have a waterfront district now, we have a city center district, we have a Riverwalk district, which is, goes all the way along the river to the back of Hagatna Shopping Center. And then we have what we call the West Hagatna district, which is more residential, Anigua, going towards that way. So there are different proposed design features for each of the districts, right? And in a city capital, we're trying to keep it more looking towards retail and government, but nothing is set in stone. There's still the permitting process. If anyone wants to build outside of the recommended design guides, they can apply for a variance, just like they do with the current zoning code.
Right. So it kind of sounds like back to the drawing board, right? So when you're anticipating they're going to vote this down tomorrow, what's the timeline in terms of meeting with your board and just figuring out how to move forward after this?
Well, we meet with the board next week. We've already made the formal request for a roundtable discussion in the next couple of weeks. There weren't very many amendments to the plan itself. Again, it had to do with our powers and components that aren't part of the plan. By law, we are mandated to submit a plan to the legislature. There are other components like the zoning code, which they wanted information of. But by law, we're not mandated to submit the zoning code. The documents on how we're going to govern the city, we didn't submit that because by law, that's not what was required of us. So I feel like it's being held hostage by these other factors that don't really aren't a part of it. I mean, the speaker herself, you said yesterday, it's a beautiful plan, right?
Yeah.
It's beautiful. A lot of work has gone into it. So we're going to try and address those other issues that they have at the roundtable. We've requested that they submit all their questions. It was a strong request from the Republican side, from Senator Tello Tidegui, Senator Brown, and we're going to try and respond to all their questions and take it from there.
Las, do you anticipate this kind of thing with Hagatna happening in like Tumon, where we clean up zoning, kind of bring uniformity to these different districts?
I think that is the hope, is that this would serve as a template for other villages. We have a lot of issues right now with irresponsible development, right? We go and we change the zoning code of a certain area. For example, the area in Two Lovers Point, they just changed the zoning code without any guidance, without any policies. And then you get a developer that comes in there and wants to put a Ferris wheel, right next to the ocean. And then you get protests, and people are angry and upset because there was no planning. There was no foresight. Okay, if you're going to create a hotel zone, at least give some guidance. Hey, you know what? We want the hotels to be sustainable. We want the hotels to, be environmentally friendly. So that's what this plan is. It's policy. It's not regulation. Yeah. It's guidance. It's not regulation. We are not a regulatory agency. So that's what we've done. Is we've said, hey, if you want to develop in Hagatna, you can't obstruct any of our heritage sites. You can't. You have to put a sidewalk in front of your building so that you meet the guidelines that we're trying to create a city that's for live, work, and play. So those are the type of guidelines that we're looking at. We're not restricting people from developing. We're trying to create a unique sense of place that protects our capital city from irresponsible development.
Yeah, I mean, I know I've talked to you over the years about this, and I know you're very passionate about it. And I was excited when you got it all the way to legislature, and I really hope you're able to resolve this with this informational hearing and address all the concerns.
Thank you, Chris. It's been 25 years.
Yeah.
It's never gotten to this point. We've spent $1 million, and they've stopped it because of a study that is not wasn't required that we submit by law. But we're going to address those things hopefully in this discussion, this forum, the roundtable, and I hope that we can help them better understand, and hopefully it'll pass not then. And if not, then there are other reasons why it's not passing, right?
Are you saying politics, Lasia? It wouldn't be me. I got to ask just for your comment on, and I'm sure you've been following
I knew
this.
you were going to ask me. I caught the tail end of your
Right.
last.
Yeah. Yeah. And so there's a girl plays for Guam High, a transgender, wanted to play on the girls' team, or has been playing on the girls' team. I'm sure you've been following the news, but just your comment on this situation as now this whole transgender and sports issue, it's landed on our shores, and I'm just curious to see your take on it.
My take. Listen, Chris, transgender children vary in athletic ability just as other youth do. There's no evidence to support claims that allowing transgender student athletes to play on the team that fits their gender identity would affect the fairness of the sport or the competition. There's studies that have been done. This is just one of those culture wars that the right has created. In when was it? In just a few years ago. Remember, it was all the bathroom bills,
right? Yeah.
That they were trying to pass. They didn't succeed then because there was no evidence. Now they're attacking us. Our youth, and it's a real shame because our youth play sports to gain confidence and to work on things like fairness and perseverance and discipline and working on teams at this level. This isn't professional sports, and to discriminate based on fear and bigotry, it hurts. And let me tell you, Chris, I'm almost 50 years old, so I've been taking this kind of crap for a long time. And the average lifespan of a trans person is 35. Most of us don't make it past 35 because of suicide, because of drugs, whatever, because of, from discrimination like this. So I have a tough skin. But lately it's been getting to me. It's really been getting to me, and it's been affecting my mental health. So can you imagine me with this tough skin, having taken all this, what our 15, 12, 10, 9-year-old kids are going through right now? So that's what I have to say about it.
Wow. Thank you for that, Lasia. I feel you, and I feel your passion on that, and I agree. You're right, and I think a lot of young kids, they play sports also to escape from the problems of the real world. And appreciate your input on that, Lasia, and good luck with this informational hearing. Keep us posted, and have a great day.
Thank you, Chris. You too.
Okay,
Adios.
Lasia. Esta.
Hi, Nathan.
Is Jason here? He's in the back. Thank you, Lasia.
Adios.
See you. Hey, 7:55, Thursday, April 28th, 2022. I'm really glad that Lasia was able to comment on that. This issue kind of popped up when I was on leave, and that was kind of the first thing I thought about was getting Lasia's take on this. As I know you guys know, she's a transgendered female. She just told a lot of her story there, and I think the part that really resonated with me was when she talked about being almost 50 years old and having lived this life as a trans person and having dealt with the abuse, the discrimination, the hatred, the bigotry, and to still be standing here today talking to us, right? And she says, that's me with my thick skin. Imagine a teen, a child, still growing, trying to find their way, how they take it, right? 7:55, Thursday, April 28, 2022. This is The Link. My name is Chris. Thank you, guys. Facebook Live. We got here comments. John Paul Manuel, thank you, Lasia, for all your hard work. F. Glenn Lujan, wow, man, members of the LGBTQ community this morning on the link. Biba Pride.